All right. Okay. All right, welcome to Healing by Design. We're in E, eczema. And eczema and psoriasis I kind of put together because they're the same, only different. And so I just kind of blended them together, eczema and psoriasis. So that's the class today in Healing by Design. So Father, we pray for wisdom and insight. We thank you for this time today in this gathering, Lord. We ask that you give us more wisdom on understanding the human body, how amazing we're made, how fearfully and wonderfully we're made. And we pray that we would have just more knowledge and insight into overcoming sickness and disease, aligning with your heart when it comes to health, specific to this topic today of eczema, psoriasis, or any other skin condition for that matter. So we pray in Jesus' name, amen. All right, so eczema and psoriasis. I won't do my lengthy intro this time. We'll just kind of get right into it. Eczema is from a Greek word, from two Greek words. It actually means to boil over or to boil out, which is kind of interesting, which is actually a very accurate description. Here's some notes. Yeah, so eczema means to boil over or to boil out. And if you understand what's actually happening with eczema, that's actually a perfect definition. You get rough, inflamed, itchy patches of skin. And they say, I've never personally had eczema, but from what I've heard is that it might not be that bad or might not itch that bad until you start to itch it, and then it gets really bad. So it's damaged skin cells. And I'm going to talk in detail about what these conditions really are. Psoriasis actually means to have an itch. From the Greek, it means to have an itch. So these are both like itchy skin conditions. I mean, we put these fancy Greek words on them and label them these diseases. They're really just imbalances in our body with the way God designed our internal workings to work. So they're not really diseases. You can call them imbalances would be another word for it. The problem with disease, as I've talked about many times, is that once you get a disease and the medical community labels it for you, then they have a medication that's supposed to treat that disease, and you never gain freedom from it because you never learn about what's actually going on in the human body. And so it's really a way to keep people in bondage by agreeing with these different disease names and these disease conditions, no matter what it is. What is actually happening with eczema and psoriasis is that there's actually toxins and poisons coming out of the body and out of the skin. So there's no wonder that it hurts and it's itchy and it's inflamed and it's problematic, because when you got toxins and poisons coming out of your body, that's going to destroy your skin cells. It's going to destroy the surface of your skin. So that's why these can be debilitating conditions. I've met people who have eczema and psoriasis covering their entire bodies. I had a 4-year-old girl one time who had eczema so bad she couldn't stop itching. She couldn't sleep at night, and she would itch so bad she would bleed. And this was her family's life for years until we made a few changes, and in 1 month it went away and she wasn't itching anymore and she slept through the night. So these aren't diseases that we're supposed to have the rest of our lives, and they're not diseases we should have at all. And so we want to learn how God designed the body and what principles of God's natural laws of creation that we're violating that brings about these types of diseases and conditions. Just to give you a quick tip on how to stop itchiness of eczema really, really fast is through a salt compress. So you can just take some water and put some sea salt in it and dip a rag in it and basically make like a compress and put it on the eczema. That's one of the fastest ways to help with eczema and psoriasis. It's just a simple salt compress. When I got poison ivy, we were researching what to do because I'd never had poison ivy bad before, and I got into it in the backyard. And I did really hot water with sea salt and baking soda, and it completely took the itch and the sting away for about 8 hours. So as long as I did that morning and evening, I was able to survive the week that it took me to overcome the poison ivy. But I just think it's interesting in eczema, a sea salt compress, same thing, can very quickly kind of relieve the itching and some of the misery. So when we talk about eczema and psoriasis, I'm going to first talk about what it's not. And I think it's just important to talk about what it's not than talk about what it is. Because what it's not is it's not an external problem. And just knowing that alone would save thousands of people from wasting their money going to dermatologists who, I'm sorry to say it this way, but really know nothing about health in the human body because they treat everything externally like it's some type of external problem. Well, it's not an external problem. You know, if I go out into the garage and spill antifreeze on my arm and my skin gets damaged, that's an external problem. When you've had eczema and psoriasis for years and years and years, that's not an external problem. And you go to the doctor and they give you steroid creams or injections or prednisone or these different things, and not only are they not helping you, but they're harming you. It destroys the immune system, it destroys the adrenal glands, and people will live for years getting these creams and salves to treat their different various skin conditions. And so it's not good. Now, I'm not saying it's not good that a child is itching so bad at night he can't sleep and they go get some hydrocortisone and they put it on and the kid can sleep through the night and he's less miserable. I'm all for that. But I'm much for a medical community that would actually understand the human body and what's going on at a deeper level and not just masking the pain with a drug, and the condition's going to keep coming back. And that's what happens. These kids or adults or whoever they are, they go get these creams and these salves and these drugs for years and years and years and years. And I've said it again before and I'll say it again. It's a revolving door. It's to keep people sick and it's to keep people on drugs. So freedom comes from taking responsibility for our health, changing the internal environment inside of our body so that we don't have these types of skin conditions and other issues. So the root. What's the root of what all skin conditions are? Eczema and psoriasis are talked about a lot because they're pretty miserable. Like they can be really life-altering. I met a girl one time, a lady in her late 30s, who had psoriasis literally covering her whole body. And so it can be pretty debilitating. So we want to talk about the root of what it actually is. And so whether we're talking about eczema or psoriasis, which are more ingrained, debilitating skin conditions, we're talking acne, chronic acne, boils, cysts, rashes, even getting into what would be a more serious one would be like a skin cancer. You know, any of these issues related to the skin are all basically the same thing. And it's a toxicity condition. It's an internal toxicity condition. So again, it's not an external issue unless you got into some chemical poisons and got them on your skin. It's an internal issue. And so what's happening is your body is trying to remove toxins from the inside back out. So what we have to look at and understand how the human body works is we have to understand the process of how God designed the body to stay healthy. And the main scripture I use over and over again is Leviticus 17:11, which is the life of all flesh is in the blood. So the way God designed the body is for the blood to stay healthy. It's about the blood. And for us as believers, for Christ, it's about the blood. It's about his pure, undefiled blood that is he's our Savior. But our bodies, our blood, our bodies get defiled. They don't have to be. We can choose to change our ways and overcome sin and overcome health issues through choosing things that purify and strengthen and heal our blood. But the way the body works is to keep blood healthy. So think about what a liver does. It filters blood. What does the lymphatic system do? A lot of people don't even know they have a lymphatic system or what a lymphatic system is. It's a 100,000 plus mile system in your body that's designed to keep blood healthy. There's fluid in the blood called interstitial fluid. And it's connected, the lymph, to the blood, and it actually pulls toxins and waste out of the bloodstream to keep it healthy. And that lymph fluid, which is your cellular waste or sewer system of the body, is kind of a way we describe the lymph system. This sewer system of the body eliminates these toxins and waste out through the kidneys. So what does the kidneys do? It removes waste from the body to keep the blood clean. The lymph keeps the blood clean. The liver keeps the blood clean. And so all these organs are designed to keep us healthy and well. And there's so many nuances to health, but a lot of us have realized that our ways are wrong, and the food that we're eating, the chemicals we're using, the drugs we're using, we can see what's happening to the human body. But we have to understand that even what we would consider healthy foods have a waste byproduct. Bears poop. So do deer, so do antelope, but they don't get heart disease, diabetes, and cancer. These are man-made inventions for us choosing ways that are contrary to God's design. Animals who live in nature and eat foods that God provided them do not get the sicknesses and diseases that human beings get, because we do it through the choices that we've made, through not honoring God's creation in the earth or honoring God's creation in our bodies, because we are to be a holy temple, a vessel for the Lord. And me included, I'm not there yet. And nobody I know is there to what the Lord would fully have for us in honoring our bodies and not just treating it like a place that we can just pleasure ourselves any way we want. And so unfortunately, a lot of us have done that in food. We just don't talk about it a lot, especially in the church. So getting back to God designed the body to keep the blood healthy. The skin, a nickname of the skin is the third kidney. And so you can read various materials on skin conditions from a natural health point of view. All of them, if there's some wisdom in it, will point to the fact that there's an internal toxicity where the body's overwhelmed to the point where it's starting to spill toxins and poisons out through the skin. So you've probably heard that the skin is the largest organ in the body, right? You've kind of heard that. Okay. The liver's bigger than your head, but it doesn't compare into your skin because, well, there's a whole lot of surface area in your skin. So it's actually the largest elimination organ is the skin. And it's a great indicator of your health because your skin is a great indicator of internal health. Why can some people be 80, 85, 90 and have great looking skin, and some people be 40 and look like they're totally wrinkled and they're aged? Well, it depends on our lifestyle choices. Do we smoke and drink and eat toxic food our whole lives, or did we live outside and exercise and eat fruits and vegetables and the things that God provided to us? It's not just age. We choose how we age. It's not inevitable. I mean, aging is inevitable. I shouldn't say that, but we can choose. We can age gracefully. And so again, the skin is a reflection of that. And all a skin condition is an obvious sign that your internal organs are overwhelmed. They can't do their job because the skin isn't supposed to be a main elimination channel for the body. The colon is. The kidneys are. The lymphatic system moving waste through the kidneys. The liver moving waste out through the lymph and out through the colon. It all should happen internally out our main elimination channels without coming out through our skin. So again, this is an obvious sign that something's not right with our internal health if our skin isn't healthy. And think about our obsession in our culture with skin health. I mean, it is an obsession to take, creams and salves and lotions and make our skin look good. But what if the truth was, which is the truth, that you could have the most beautiful skin the way God designed you to have beautiful skin by actually taking care of the inside of your body? But again, we don't want to do that a lot of times. We want to eat what we want and do what we want and then put all kinds of stuff to make our skin look good on the outside. We're more about external appearance than actually what's going on internally. Now, I know we can't really see what's going on inside of our bodies internally, so that makes it a challenge. But your skin is a direct reflection of your internal health. We've been talking about this in Chinese medicine for thousands of years. So what we have to look at when we have a skin condition like eczema psoriasis is we have to look at what parts of the body are overwhelmed. The main one that I believe is what you should focus on, and a lot of people would agree, is the kidneys. Because again, the skin is called the third kidney. And a way you can look at a skin condition, it's dirty blood. Just to kind of summarize this point that I'm trying to make about health and the life of all flesh is in the blood, the way God designed us, he has to keep the blood healthy. If blood gets compromised, then that's when we'll quickly start to deteriorate or lose our life. We know if we lose too much blood, we pass out, or we could die if we lose too much blood. But if the blood gets healthy, that's why they do blood work, to see different things going on in the blood. If there's immune system markers showing up in the blood that are excessive, or other indicators of poor blood health, we know that's a problem. You're getting into diseases like lupus, you're in for a major battle because it's a blood-related disease, because the blood is very important to our health. And so, again, skin conditions is the blood getting compromised. The internal elimination organs of normal elimination can't handle the job. The toxins are coming out through the skin. This is actually God's brilliant design. We look at everything as a problem or something wrong. I mean, it is. There's a problem in our body if we have really poor skin health. But it's God's mercy and beautiful design of the human body that he's able to keep us alive by pushing the toxins out through any way he can to not compromise the health of the blood. So it's a blessing in disguise, so to speak, but it's also just, again, if we would pay attention to our bodies and realize that something's going on internally and not just run to a doctor and try to cover it up with creams and salves, we could actually restore health to our bodies. And so we have to clean the blood. And so no wonder that eczema is this itchy, red, inflamed, horrible condition when you have all these toxins circulating in your bloodstream that can't get out, and the body starts pushing them out through the skin. These are toxins. These are waste. These are acids. And so that's going to damage your skin as it comes out of your body because they're acids. Acids eat things. They destroy cells. Better that they destroy your skin than they destroy the inside of your body. Again, this is God's really smart design. And it's a wake-up call for us to change. And if we just I got this skin thing going on, and it's just life, and it's just the way it is, and I guess I'm in my 50s now, so that's just what kind of happens, you've just given yourself over to sickness and disease. And we have to take responsibility for these bodies that God gave us, these holy temples that God gave us. So if the blood doesn't clean out toxins and waste properly, it can't function properly. I mean, your blood has oxygen in it to oxygenate your body. You got to have enough red blood cells, and all this can't happen if the body's congested and full of acid waste. So again, this is why it starts pushing stuff out through the skin. Psoriasis is actually a buildup of those skin cells being pushed out. Those excessive amount of toxic skin cells actually build up on the body, which is psoriasis, which they say it's a little different than eczema, but like I said, it's kind of the same, only different. They're all an internal toxicity condition. So going back to the kidneys, because the skin is the third kidney, again, I'm just going to paint this picture for you. You have blood that has to stay healthy. You have lymphatic fluid that is 100,000 miles long in the body, that's here and under your armpits, and then thoracic duct that goes up through your chest, and gut-associated lymph tissue all around your intestinal tract, and you have it around your groin and behind your knees. And you think of men and women that have issues with, it doesn't have to be lymphoma or lymphedema. You can have just any kind of swelling, breast tenderness around your cycle, fibrocystic breasts. All these are issues of congested, blocked lymphatic system. And it's your main sewer system of the body. And so you have the lymph pulling toxins out of the blood, and then that lymph waste has to be removed through the kidneys. And so I have really, really been focused on and interested in kidney health, more so lately than ever before. The Lord's really highlighted it, shown me all the scriptures about how the Lord tests our reins, which is our kidneys. And so there's clearly something special about the kidneys. But one thing that's special about the kidneys in the physical sense is that's how the body mainly eliminates fluid waste out of the body. And it's the buildup of fluid waste in the body that creates kidney issues and kidney stones and edema and swelling and diabetes and 100 other health conditions, arthritis and rheumatoid arthritis. So many people suffering with pain in their joints. It's just a buildup of acid waste in the body. God's a chemist. He designed the human body. He created chemistry. He designed us to work a certain way. So none of this is just haphazard or happenstance or, There's cause and effect. If we don't understand the basic cause and effect relationship of God's design of the earth and our bodies, then we're just going to continue to do things that are destructive to human health. And so all these issues are a result of acidity being backed up in the body. So I really focus on the kidneys, and we're actually all doing a kidney cleanse right now, and I have a kidney cleanse on my website, but you got to get the kidneys opening and filtering waste and toxins out of the body. So you want to not have a skin condition anymore, you want to not have eczema or psoriasis or any of these things, I would, number one, focus on your kidneys. Because cleansing your kidneys is going to allow the lymph waste to get out, and allowing the lymph waste to get out is going to allow your blood to continuously get more and more clean. And so there's a whole gamut of necessary things to do for that, but I'll just kind of give you the basics of it. First of all, your kidneys have to be filtering. The old adage or belief out there in the medical system and even in natural health is that you should drink tons and tons of water and drink a gallon of water a day and your pee should always be clear. The truth is, that's not the case. You should be drinking water when you're thirsty. If you're over drinking water, you're overhydrated. And if you're peeing clear, your kidneys are not filtering out waste. When you know your kidneys are filtering and functioning properly, your pee is cloudy and stinky and full of sediment, and it might be dark yellow or even orange or reddish or brownish. And that's how you know you're getting waste out of your body. So if it's clear all the time, which is what we hear everybody say, your kidneys aren't working. And people are sick, and they know that they're sick. And they got edema and swelling and all these different health issues I'm talking about. And they drink a gallon of water a day, and they eat fairly decent, and they think everything's okay. What's cool about it is I can see it really clearly in the eye, especially blue eyes or hazel green eyes. You can see the acidity and the inflammation just right by looking in their eyes, because their eyes are covered in white. And that's the sign that the lymph is congested and the body's full of acidity and inflammation. And so that's the first step. You got to get those kidneys filtering. So do a kidney cleanse, do something. I mean, think about the main drugs out there for high blood pressure and diabetes and all these issues. They're giving people diuretics. What do diuretics do? Force fluid out through your kidneys. They're not helping you. They're not healing you. What's going to heal you is changing your diet, which is the biggest reason most people don't get sick, and the biggest reason people are dying short of their fullness and calling that God would have for them, and prematurely, and suffering is food. It's the number one idol not being addressed in the church. But we have to address diet, and we have to get the kidneys functioning and filtering. So the first step to that might sound pretty obvious, but getting away from anything that's not water. Okay, we drink coffee and soda and all these things that God didn't give us. Well, I shouldn't say God didn't give us coffee. It's just that we do it excessively, and we process it and all that. But it is a diuretic. It does cause water loss. But we gotta get hydrated the right way. And the way to get hydrated properly is through raw fruits and vegetables. It's through cucumbers and high water content containing fruits and vegetables. That's what's going to rehydrate the body and bring health to the body and bring health back to the kidneys. Not eating a poor diet and doing caffeine and doing soda pop and all these different things that damage the kidneys. So I won't get too much more into the kidneys, but I just really want people to understand that if they work on cleansing and they work on the kidneys, the eczema will start to go away. The psoriasis will start to go away. And I've seen it in dozens and dozens of people, so I know it's true. The gal I told you about that had psoriasis covering her entire body, in 30 days, it was gone down to like one patch, the sign of a silver dollar on her back. And it was covering her entire body. And it's because she juice fasted for 30 days. So if you fast, what do? You take all the pressure off your body. I mean, my joke, that's not really a joke, it's true, we could all be healthy if we could get out of God's way. I mean, the essence and the nature of who God is a healer. And he's a great designer. And he's a great architect. It's just that we usually give him pretty junky building materials. And we give him too many of the wrong building materials. And so that's why the body starts to malfunction. And so if we take stress off the body, and we reduce our food intake, and we stop eating, especially late at night, and we start doing more juices and smoothies and fresh fruits and vegetables and the things God said we should eat in Genesis 1:29, then the body starts to heal itself, because that's the essence and the nature of who God is to heal us. And that's why fasting is healing. That fasting shouldn't only be a spiritual practice, but it should be an emotional practice, and it should be a physical way to heal the body. And it is a physical way to heal the body. And there's plenty of people who have taught fasting. In fact, fasting is the main thing promoted by all natural healers throughout all of history. So taking stress off the body and taking stress off these elimination organs is going to take stress off your skin. I mean, having a skin condition is kind of like knowing that, man, your body is maxed out. Your body's maxed out. What do you think's happening to your liver and your kidneys and your colon and your lymphatic system if your skin is just breaking out all over the place? And it's sad, because I see it with children. And I see children who are 2, 3, 4 years old, and they have horrible, horrible skin conditions, and they're born with it. And people don't understand how they can be born with it. Well, it's generational. It's mom and dad's choices. It's grandma and grandpa's choices. So can they heal? Can they overcome it? They sure can. But it's going to take a lot of work. It's not going to be doing the same old things that got us into the mess that we're in today, which 4 or 5 generations into eating processed foods and toxic food and running to the doctors for petrochemical drugs that are contrary to how God designed us to function. And so we have to clean up the body. And the first step in cleaning up the body is taking the stress off the body. And you'll know that you've taken some stress off your body when your skin starts to heal. So if you have eczema or psoriasis, and you start doing some intermittent fasting, you start doing a Daniel's fast, some eating fruits and vegetables, whatever you got to do to start lightening up the load on your body, and you notice your skin condition starting to go away and get better. And anybody who's had eczema for years knows that they go out in a weekend and just eat junk for a week, and it flares it up and it's horrible. I mean, it's not like it's a mystery. We don't have any understanding or enough motivation to fully stop it for a prolonged period of time to heal the body. But we totally can. So it just takes an understanding of how the body works, so that we can overcome these issues. So other organs to consider besides the kidney, and the kidney's the main one because it's the main one that eliminates acid waste out of the body, is the gut. So you'll read a lot of information on health about gut and digestion and leaky gut. You might have heard that term. And that is undigested food getting through the body and not getting eliminated properly, and that undigested food gets out into the bloodstream. Again, this all comes back to the blood. And so this is why people are getting away from gluten and going gluten-free and going grain-free and going sugar-free and getting away from corn and soy or dairy or these different things that are causing allergic reactions to the body, because the body is so overwhelmed. It's so overwhelmed that it can't process everything. Things are getting into the bloodstream that shouldn't be there. And again, because God's a good designer, he's going to push those things out in any way he can. We sweat toxins out. We move toxins out through our skin or whatever. But it's just, again, it's a sign of toxicity. And I always tell people, if you have a skin condition, if you have eczema, if you have chronic acne, whatever it is, when that goes away, because that can go away for anybody, and it can go away as short as a month for most people. When that condition goes away, it's important to understand this. And this is the hard part. It's the hard part for me to understand and for so many people. That is the beginning of you getting better. I always have to stress that. It's the beginning of you getting better. Because you know what? We don't actually do anything to change our health unless we're physically suffering or we see something that we don't like. I mean, is that fair to say for the majority of me and most everybody? We're so driven by our flesh, really, if you want to look at it from a biblical standard. We're driven by our flesh, how we feel and what we see. And what happens is people have eczema, they've been suffering for years, they start juice fasting and taking herbs and cleansing their blood and cleansing their kidneys, and their eczema goes away, and they're like, praise God, I'm healed. And then what happens? Yeah, why did it come back? Because you go back. You go back to the old things that brought you pleasure your whole life. You go back to the cookies and the crackers and the chips and the muffins and the soda and the whatever. And for some people it's not even that. It's they still choose healthy things and they eat whole grain Ezekiel sprouted bread and they're trying to make healthy choices. But their body's not healed. Again, the skin condition going away is the beginning of somebody getting better. Because remember, the skin stuff only came out because the body was completely overwhelmed in the kidneys, gut, and or liver. And so once the skin's gone, the body's like, okay, thank you, like give me some relief so I can stop pushing toxins out through the skin. Like, awesome, good start. Good start, but we got to keep going. We got to go deeper. We got to continue to cleanse. We got to continue to heal. One of the biggest problems in our society is nobody knows that they're sick unless they feel bad and go to the doctor and get a diagnosis. The only way I know if somebody's well or how well they are is actually by looking in their eye. It's the only good tool that natural health practitioners have to see what's going on in the human body is in the iris of the eye. And so again, you can see the white, the inflammation, and you can see that go away. And you can see eyes that were green or hazel turn back to blue. And that's when you know somebody's getting better, is their body's healing internally. And so I have to stress that point. Praise God that your eczema is gone, but please don't stop. And please continue to live for the Lord. Because if you think about what's happening is you stop eating all the processed foods, you're eating more fruits and vegetables, you're taking herbs and things God gave us, you're walking every day, your eczema went in the way, you're aligning yourself with your Creator. Why would you go back? There's only one reason you'd go back. This stuff right here. It's the only reason we go back. And I am preaching to the choir, or however you want to say it, I have done it 1,000 times. Okay, I am not immune to this stuff. I am battling my own stuff. And I walk through this with you guys. And so I know what it's like to feel amazing and go back. And so we have to get a higher vision. We have to get a motivation beyond ourselves. We have to truly want to serve God with our bodies. We truly want to have to serve others. If we are only going to serve ourselves, we're never going to heal. Because again, we do just enough to feel better or to make the skin rash go away, and then we keep going back. It's a good lesson for people to learn because I think everybody's going to go through that. Everybody's going to go through that lesson. Almost everybody who needs to lose weight goes on a program, loses 20, 50, 70 pounds, and gains it back. They might be super bummed, but it's a great lesson to learn. Because the lesson is you could do it. Like, right? There's hope. There's hope that you can't do it. And ultimately, we always have to come to that realization that life is a choice, right? God gave us free will. God's in charge of all things, yet he gives us free will to choose him or not to choose him. So it's a choice. Health is a choice. And people all throughout history died of old age. And all the great men of the Bible, post-flood, died full of years. Joshua, and Abraham, and Job. These guys were 110, 147, 160. We don't know how old Job was exactly, but I think he was beyond 150. But yeah, this is post-flood. And so again, God, the heart of God is not for people to die suffering of heart disease, diabetes, and cancer. I always use those three because those are like the big three, you know. But that's not God's heart. I mean, who for 1 second thinks that that's supposed to happen to his people? And so yeah, we're talking about eczema and psoriasis, but it's almost like a sign that something deeper is going on in the body that you need to handle before something worse happens. And so you really want to persevere in understanding these things. So I'm going to give you a couple of concepts or ideas of how to heal eczema. The first thing I mentioned was the salt, the sea salt. That really helps. We have this stuff called Africa's Secret. This stuff is amazing for all skin conditions, eczema and psoriasis. It's shea butter, coconut oil, beeswax, wild honey, neem oil, baobab oil, sesame oil, royal jelly, bee pollen, and bee propolis. So there's not a lot of things that work on eczema because it's acids and waste coming out of the body. But this is really good. The other thing I don't have up here that's really good is clay. I'll often have people take clay baths. You can take a sea salt bath. You can take a bath in bentonite clay. And the clay is very alkalizing. It's also very soothing and cooling to the skin. So because eczema is like a hot condition, it's very soothing and healing and cooling. And on a really bad spot, you can even kind of make up a clay pack. You take dried clay powder, make it into like a mud, put it over a bad spot, and wrap it in plastic, and just and let it sit overnight, for example, and that can help heal up an area. Same thing with this. I have a salve called Healing Salve that's comfrey root, plantain, and olive oil. You could do the same with this, Africa's Secret. If you got it really bad on your hands, for example, you could put it on your hands and then maybe put some gloves on, and then again sleep overnight, and it can kind of heal up your hands overnight. But again, you're only doing things topically when the real issue is internal. And we have to understand that. So other things you can do for your body is take care of your gut. So how do you get all nutrition to your body? Through what you eat, through your gut. So you can kind of say like all health conditions are, and people say it starts in the gut, and it really kind of does, because we're either putting in the body what God designed to go in the body that brings life and that's healthy and healing to the body, or we're putting things in the body that's contrary to God's design. It's kind of hard to be neutral in that. I mean, some things are obvious, like, you know, if I'm eating Twizzlers or Diet Dr. Pepper, you know, it's clearly not of God. But sometimes there's a lot of gray area with breads and pastas and whole grain this and that, and so I don't want to get into that, but I'm just saying it can get tricky. But let's at least get the obvious processed white flour, white sugar, junk food. You know, think about what God designed. It was us not choosing those things in the early 1900s that led to the levels of sickness and disease that we have today. And that's proven just historical records. You just look pre-1900 and people didn't have these issues near to the extent that we have them today. They existed, but it was extremely rare. I mean, pre-1900, if somebody had cancer, they'd be like, what? How did you get cancer? Nobody in your family has cancer. How's that even possible? Today, it's like, you got cancer. Oh, well, everybody in your family has cancer. So, you know, I guess that makes sense. It's not. Just because it's normal in our culture today doesn't mean it's normal of how God designed this earth to be, because it's not. It's very abnormal from that. But you want to take care of your gut. And so that's why diet really matters. It really matters what we eat. And like I said, you have to take the burden off of the body. So like the summer detox challenge we're doing right now, we're challenging people to eat fruits and vegetables mainly throughout the summer. Now, if you need more substance and you need to do some avocado or some olives or a few almonds or whatever, do what you can do. But we got to get away from the heavy foods, and especially the processed foods. Probiotics are known to be helpful in skin conditions because of the healthy bacteria. Helps you digest and break down your food better. Fermented foods would kind of fit in that same category. So just gut healing things. Aloe vera juice. If people have leaky gut, there's things you can do to what's called heal and seal your gut. So you can do minerals and all kinds of different things to kind of heal your gut lining, but mainly you have to change your diet. If you're going to stop this bombardment, this extra burden of overwhelmed detox organs, again, forcing things out through the skin. So again, it doesn't matter, even if you're, you know, it doesn't matter what age you are. I mean, if you're starting to get any skin thing going on, it's a sign of something going on inside your body. You know, liver spots, like everybody talks about liver spots, and oh, you just get them as you age. Yeah, they do come more as you age, but it's still a sign that something's going on with your liver. Because not everybody who's in their 70s or 80s has liver spots. But it's just, again, accepted as normal. But it does mean that there's something going on with your internal organs that you might want to consider. So gut health is important. Kidney cleansing is important. Liver cleansing is important. Because, again, the liver filters the blood. So that's why I highlight kidney, liver, lymph, and colon. These are all the main elimination channels to keep the blood healthy in the body. And if, you know, just to stress it again, you can't have a skin problem. You cannot have a skin condition if your elimination organs are working in eliminating waste the way they were designed to. So I put down basic step 1, 2, 3. I don't even know what's in your guys' handout. I always kind of do that separate. But the basic step 1 is getting rid of the common things that are overwhelming the human body today, and that's dairy, sugar, and grains. Dairy, I have explained in many classes in the past, so I won't get into detail about it, but dairy has been a food for thousands of years for people who lived outside, worked in fields, worked 8-10 hours a day, and were sweating. But dairy is actually God's design of milk for that animal. So you don't take a 50-pound cow and turn it into a 1,000-pound cow in 1 year unless it's a really, really heavy, dense food, which dairy is. And because today people are so compromised and they're so congested and they have so many health issues, and we're not working outside in the fields 10 hours a day, and generationally we're getting weaker and weaker and weaker because we're sedentary, we're not active, and we're eating processed foods, I don't recommend dairy for anybody today. Anybody. I mean, if you have super strong genetics and you're still working the farm, you might be able to get away with it. But anybody today, if you're wanting to be healthy at all, you should eliminate dairy. It doesn't matter how raw it is, how grass-fed the cow is. It is not a food that's going to bring and restore health to the body because it blocks up and it congests the lymphatic system. Mainly the lymph is what it blocks up. And so grains, all your sugars, I would make an exception with fruit sugar. Fruit sugar is a little bit different. But I'm talking about all your bread, pasta, pizza, crackers, chips, all that stuff we love, all that stuff I grew up eating. That stuff is very acid forming, creates a lot of work on the kidneys. And if you just eliminated those three things, dairy, grains, and sugar, just doing that alone, 90% of people's skin conditions are going to go away. Children who have been suffering for years, it goes away. But it's hard for parents to even fathom that because, I mean, we all grew up eating bread and we ate sandwiches and we feed our kids Cheerios and Goldfish and we don't know anything different. And it's hard for us to believe that those things are bad for us when for 2, 3, 4 generations we've been eating those things. The problem is eating those things for 2, 3, 4 generations has led to where we're at today. So we can continue down the same path or we can change. I mean, really, that's what it comes down to. And so getting rid of dairy, grains, and sugar is huge. I put meat in there because it's also very acidic. I'm not against eating meat. But I think we do eat too much, and it is heavy, and it is acidic. And a lot of people know if they have eczema and psoriasis and they have skin conditions, they eat red meat, and it immediately flares it up. See, I heard some uh-huhs. You eat pork, it immediately flares it up. Why? It's super heavy, it's acid forming, it's a lot of work for the body to break down, and throws a lot of acid waste into the liver and into the bloodstream. So I'm not going to get into eat meat or not eat meat or a vegetarian. It's not about that. It's about where your body's at and how to heal your body. And for a lot of people, they just don't do well with meat anymore. And you need to get away from it. And you'll heal faster if you don't eat meat. So we need to consider eliminating those things. So I know I've gone through this process. I had to bring my family through this process, my parents, people I work with. If you can't eat dairy, grains, and sugar, what do you eat? There's nothing left. That's all we've eaten our whole lives. I grew up eating butter and cheese sandwiches. I mean, I just grilled cheese and whatever. So it's what do you eat? So it's really not that hard. It's Genesis 1:29. All seed-bearing plants shall be your food. It's fruits, it's vegetables, it's nuts, it's seeds. If you want to eat some lean meats, eat some lean meats, eat some chicken and some turkey and some eggs and some fish. But just sticking to the simplicity of what God gave us. And you'll get better. You'll get better. Again, I love saying that it's impossible for you not to get better if you can align with how God designed us, because it's the nature of who He is to see us healed and to see us well. The main two things that are in our way, number one, the main thing in our way is ourselves. There's no doubt about it. We're just weak and we like what we like. But the other thing in our way that's a real big obstacle is world systems. Do you think God designed the pharmaceutical industry? Do you think God designed the fast food industry? These things were not of God's intention. These things are contrary to the life-giving essence of who God is. And so we have created world systems that are meant to destroy human life. So we have to turn away from those systems. And again, I'm thankful for the medical community that they can save lives. I'm thankful for it. It's unfortunate that we need it, but I am thankful for it because I have an uncle, and everybody probably has somebody who in some way was helped and or saved by the medical community. I think that's great. But the 1% of good they do doesn't make up for the 99% of destruction that they cause to human life, including innocent children. And I don't want to get into that, but it's very sad what that industry has become. So that was step one, diet. You need to eat alkalizing foods. You need to eat greens. I mentioned fruits and vegetables, but greens cleanse the blood and they cleanse the kidneys. Lemon cleanses the kidneys. Beets cleanse the blood and cleanse the kidneys. Anything that looks like blood cleanses the blood. God does not make a mistake in his design. Why are beets one of the most amazing things for your liver, for your gallbladder, and for your blood? One of the highest things in iron, and one of the most healing things on the planet. It looks like blood. So do all your red berries, your cherries and your dark cherries. And what do people take for gout and arthritis? They take dark cherries. They take things high in malic acid. It builds blood. It strengthens blood. Greens build blood, strengthen blood. All liquid greens. It's the blood of the plant. Every plant has blood. It's called chlorophyll. And it heals our bodies. And God gave us those things to eat. It's just we jokingly don't like green things that God gave us. You know, it's funny. Like, you get a kid who's 3 years old and he doesn't like greens. Where do you think he learned that from? Right? I mean, my kids love greens. They love green smoothies. They don't look at something green and say that's weird or gross. Where do you think? I mean, children learn from our behavior. So that's the first step is diet. Lighten the load. Stop eating so late at night. Stop eating all the heavy processed stuff. Get back to the basics of what God gave us. If you want to alkalize your body the quickest, baking soda, you can drink it in water. Half a teaspoon or a teaspoon when you wake up and again at night before bed will alkalize your system very quickly. Anything green, so a good greens powder, spirulina, chlorella, liquid chlorophyll. I have this product called pH Quintessence. It's a 40-to-1 alfalfa concentrate I give to people that quickly alkalizes, works on alkalizing the blood in the body. Step two, it's funny, I forgot when I wrote this. Step two, I put stop eating. I kind of alluded to this. But if somebody really has a serious health issue at all or skin condition, you have to stop eating. Now you might sound that's funny, you know, and I'm kind of being funny. But if you want to reveal your weaknesses real fast, stop eating. Start fasting. Yeah, it looks different for every person. But just eating fruits and vegetables is a challenge for a lot of people because we spend our whole life eating everything else. I mean, we might throw in a token fruit or vegetable once in a while and be like, hey, look, I'm healthy, I'm eating that broccoli. But we don't really eat fruits and vegetables. So if you want to find out where your weaknesses are and you want to see where you're at with this guy right here, start fasting, seriously. It has brought me some of the greatest, most amazing moments in God, and it's also bringing me places that I thought were the pit of hell. Because I realized the struggle of the battle of the flesh versus the spirit. And you will never understand that battle if you don't fast. And that's why the Bible called us to fast. Because if you don't fast, you're just going to live a worldly life, and you're never going to understand what it means to separate yourself from your flesh. And I'm talking just about food. There's a lot more things than food involved in separating ourselves from our flesh, but it's a big one that's not being addressed. So the first thing I challenge people to do is just eat fruits and vegetables and nuts and seeds and the basic things God gave us. Now that should be easy because it's what God gave us and it's what he desired that we ate when he gave us a beautiful garden to steward and to spread throughout the earth. That should be easy. But beyond that, doing vegetables only or doing juice only, that really starts to get more challenging. And so I really encourage people to fast because if you got a debilitating skin condition like eczema and you go on a 30-day juice fast, you won't have eczema anymore. I can just tell you that. I can claim that because I've seen many people do it. And there's all kinds of testimonials on the internet about it. So again, you've taken all the stress off your body. You've allowed the skin to not be an elimination pathway of toxins anymore. So stop eating. And so there's so many ways you can do that. You can just start by changing your diet. I'm not going to eat the fast food anymore, or the white flour anymore, or the white sugar. You know, wherever you're at, start somewhere. but then you can get progressively more serious about it. And everybody does it different. And I don't care how you do it, just start to do it. So you can learn where your weaknesses are. You can learn where your struggles are. Maybe you get a support group going. We have an Eating by Design Facebook group where people encourage each other about fasting and cleansing and doing these things. You can not do breakfast. I always tell people just do a juice or a smoothie for breakfast. Keep it really light. I mean, what are we doing eating bacon and eggs and pancakes and sausage if we're not out running a marathon? Like, what do you need all that for? You don't. You don't. Unless you're working out or doing something really intense in the morning, nobody needs to eat a super heavy-duty breakfast. I think we kind of had that ingrained in us because we grew up farm cultures, and my grandpa got up at 5 a.m. to go work in the field, and he probably needed some substance in the morning to help him work all day because he was working hard and sweating. But now we're doing the same things, and we're not living the same lifestyle. So one easy way to fast is just do a juice or a smoothie for breakfast, and then eat when you're hungry. And technically, your biggest meal of the day should be lunch, because that's when your body is at the height of activity and your digestion's the strongest. And your lightest meal of the day. And this is where people will drop it. This is where people will not lose weight, will not get healthy, will not heal their bodies properly, is eating at night. That is the biggest obstacle and stumbling block to most people. Because again, we all grew up making dinner the most important meal of the day. And as we go into the evening time and as we go into dinner is when the body's starting to wind down and starting to get into cleansing and detoxification mode. You know, all of our elimination organs and our detoxification organs are most active at night while we're sleeping. And if you eat a big meal before bed or you're grazing all night, your body's not healing when you're sleeping. Your body's trying to process this huge lump of food in there when it should be cleansing out the organs. And so when you wake up in the morning and you're all heavy and congested and you can hardly move, that's because at night your body's trying to heal and cleanse and detox. So it's really important to not eat late at night. And then for dinner, just try to eat as early as possible. I mean, it was not abnormal for people who lived a country life or a farm life to get up and start working at 4 or 5 a.m., work all day, and come home and have dinner as early as 4 o'clock. That was not abnormal. Now it's like we're so busy with everything going on in our day, by the time we get home, it's 7, 8 o'clock. And sometimes we're so busy, we're doing things up until 8 o'clock, so we just grab fast food or we grab restaurant food and we come home and eat it at 8, 9 o'clock. That was never the norm throughout history. And so I really encourage you guys not to eat too much late at night. Because you want to lose weight, stop eating at night. You don't even have to change your diet that much. You'll start to lose weight. Because again, your body is supposed to heal and cleanse and rejuvenate and detox at night. So you can assist that process. Other things you can do is you can fast 1 day a week. Fast 1 day a week. Juice only on Wednesday. Whatever you want to do. I've started implementing where I fast a certain amount of times per week, and it's changed my life. The problem is like, what do you do on your off days? But whatever works for you, whether it's fasting 1 meal a day, whether it's fasting 3 days a week, where it's doing a 3-day juice fast every month, where it's doing once a year I'm going to do a 40-day fast. Whatever works for you, but do something. Because if you don't do something, you won't learn again how to separate yourself. Did you want to ask a question?
Yes. You said we should stop eating at night. So what is the cutoff time?
I just say the earlier you can stop eating, the better. So if you can eat dinner at 4 or 5 o'clock, I'd say that would be ideal. If you could not eat after 4 or 5 o'clock, then that means not grazing and munching throughout the night, which I've struggled with, my wife struggles with, so many people struggle with, but you have to stop eating at night. I would say 6 at the latest. But so many people work late and so many people work at night that it's not perfect for everybody. So if you're going to have to eat dinner late, keep it light. That's the trick. Just keep it light. Keep it a juice or a smoothie or something light. And then the third step, so step 1 was changing your diet, getting away from dairy, grain, sugar, heavy foods, eating the foods God gave us, lighter foods. And then step 2 was doing some fasting, some intermittent fasting, some controlled eating, being in self-control, not eating at night. Step 3 is cleanse. So again, if you do these 3 basic things, it's impossible for you to have eczema. I believe that. We have a cleansing order that I follow. I'm not saying it's what everybody else recommends or what you need to do. But colon and kidney first, because those are the main elimination channels of the body. Where does all waste come out of the human body? Through our colon and through our urine. And if it's not coming out through those 2 places, it's going to come out through the skin. There's no other choice. Well, some people get sick and they vomit, but that's not a normal way to eliminate things on a daily basis. I certainly wouldn't want that for anybody on a daily basis. So cleansing, colon and kidney first. Then we're getting ready to do a microbe cleanse. That's what we're doing this summer. So that's yeast, fungus, bacteria, mold, parasites. People got a lot of those issues going on. And then lymph. That's that waste disposal system, the sewer system of the body. It's getting that lymph cleaned out. And then the liver. Because liver is ultimately one of the most important things to get cleaned out, but a lot of times we can't get there because everything else is so backed up. If your lymph is congested and your colon and kidneys are backed up and not working right, you're not going to detox your liver properly. And a lot of people try to cleanse their liver and they get sick because their liver starts removing waste that has nowhere to go. It's called autotoxicity. You're actually poisoning your bloodstream. It all comes back again. It's all about the blood. So cleansing is key. You can cleanse in that order or whatever works for you, but I really would encourage people to get the colon and the kidneys functioning first. Because again, if you can get your body cleaned out, you won't have skin conditions. Detox symptoms can sometimes be skin rashes. It can seem like things get worse before they get better. All of a sudden you're cleansing, you're removing more toxins and acid waste from your body, your liver starting to dump toxins into your bloodstream, your eczema psoriasis seems like it gets worse. And you go, what is going on? I'm doing something wrong. Well, your body's now more quickly trying to eliminate toxins and waste. Boy, I had a gal, I don't know if she was diagnosed with anything, but her whole body was just covered in rashes and sores, and they were weeping sores over her whole body. And she started on a juice fast, and for the first few days was miserable. She's like, if I didn't have the Lord, I don't know how to made it through, because it felt like she was dying. And she made it through those first few days because everything seemed worse. It was flaring up because all those acid wastes were leaving her body through her skin. And then after she got through that, her skin started to heal. And she's come a long, 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 long ways. And so sometimes people have cold flu symptoms or get rashes or feel achy joints or back pain or different things as they kind of go through the cleansing, healing response. But that's normal. So that's it. I'll just leave you with that, again, that final point that the skin is really important because it protects us, it shields us, but it's also an indicator of our internal health. So we want to have beautiful skin not just by putting things on it cosmetically, but having good internal health will give you, radiant, glowing skin. Since you're here, if I just want to mention this, African Americans, oftentimes, oh, you're not?
No.
What are you?
I'm British.
You're British?
Yes.
Okay, cool. So you're British, what would you call it?
British West Indian.
British West Indian, I love it. So a lot of people with darker skin have the most beautiful skin in the world. And I think about this a lot. I think about a lot of their roots of where they came from, and a lot of these tribes that could have been outside, they lived simple lives, they ate food off the land, they were in the sun all day. Certainly they weren't getting skin cancer from the sun, right? They were outside all day living a simple life, and they probably had the most amazing, healthy, beautiful blood and skin. And so that is available to all of us. It really is. It's just that what we're putting inside of our body is aging us and damaging and destroying our skin. So I just like that example. So anyway, thank you all, and we'll see you next week.